Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. This week I wanted to have a look at my downshifting story so far. So I'm going to share some of that with you and we'll see what we can learn. Let's go. So my downshifting story started and came about because I was made redundant, so it was kind of out of necessity really, and kind of by accident I suppose. Made me and my family really look at how we were living, what we were doing, what we were spending money on, what we needed to cut back on. When all of a sudden we needed to try and save as much money as possible. When you go for 2 months without any income coming in, it definitely makes you think very long and hard about what you do spend money on. And so, well, it was obviously not a good thing to happen. It was kind of a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Probably around about 6 to 8 months ago, we came across a TV series on ABC here in Australia, which was called War on Waste, and that probably was really the big thing, the big Kickstarter that got us thinking about how much money we spend on stuff, what sort of things we buy, and then how we dispose of those things. So it really made us think seriously about, how are we affecting the environment around us with what we're doing. So we really started to think seriously about what we didn't need to buy and the things that we did need to buy. So obviously things like food became really important. We had to buy that. But then luxury things, like new DVDs or any of that sort of stuff, they were things we didn't need to buy. They were things we didn't need to have in our lives in order to be able to survive. So it became more of a not like a survivor out on an island kind of survival, but just thinking seriously about what we did and didn't need to spend money on. So about 6 to 8 months ago now, my family and I watched a documentary called Freightened, and it was eye-opening to say the least. The basic premise behind it is it's a documentary about the shipping industry, its effect on the planet, how it's infecting and impacting the environment, the people that work in the industry, how they're affected and how they're exploited in a lot of cases. But more importantly, it's about the effect it has on us. It's our consumerism, buying things all the time that a lot of the time we don't really need. And that's what's driving the shipping industry and everything else that revolves with that, the pollution, the exploitation, the waste, everything. It's horrendous to say the least. So watching Freightened made us realise that we really needed to make some changes in our lives, particularly around what we consume and how we consume it. When we looked at how we were living, we realised that we were not doing too bad in a lot of areas really. We were eating healthy, we were recycling things, but one thing we wanted to try and do was be less wasteful, and then also looking at what we use things for, and if there was something we didn't need, maybe could it be repurposed for something else, or are we better off just getting rid of it? A big part of downshifting also is the possessions you have and the amount of space that they take up. So anything that we don't need, that we can't find another purpose for, we are trying to get rid of. And when I say get rid of, I mean if we can, we pass it on to someone else. So through charities and stuff, for someone else to use that item, whatever it might be. If it's not something that can be sent through charities and things, well then we look at, can it be recycled? and then if it can't be recycled, well then we try and dispose of it in the appropriate fashion. Another big part on the other side of that is buying things in the first place. So I've already said trying to cut back on what sort of things we buy, and the best way to do that I've found is to ask yourself one simple question every time you go to buy something. Do we need this? And when you go into this downshifting mindset and think about all these things, it really makes you think hard about that question. Are we really going to use this? Does this add value to our lives? All these things revolve around in that one question: do we need this thing? Another big part of downshifting was moving away from the consumerism side, as I've just been saying, and instead moving to having experiences. So my wife and I are trying to do more things with our kids rather than buying more things for them. So for example, here in Brisbane we're close to the Gold Coast. We have the Gold Coast theme parks close at hand, and so this year we got the village theme park tickets for 12 months, the 12-month pass. So we can go down there as many times as we like. It doesn't cost us anything extra. We just either take some food or pay for food, and that's our day. So we go and we have a good time rather than going and buying them another toy or things like that. So experiences is definitely a big one. Another good aspect of experience is how you do those experiences. So a popular thing to do obviously these days is, or has always been, is to go to the movies. So we're quite close to, luckily, to some fairly cheap cinemas. They have cheap Tuesdays, so you can do that sort of thing. But what we're trying to move to is, rather than going to the cinema, is using our own home theatre that we have at home. It costs us on average between $20 and $30 to take the family to the cinema for 4 of us. By the time you pay for your tickets and maybe have a few little treats, or we stay at home, we buy our treats at the supermarket, and it costs us $7 to hire a movie through iTunes. Yeah, you got to wait maybe up to 6 months longer for it to come out before you can see it, but it's a big saving money-wise. We're really trying to cut our costs. So we've done things like changed our mortgage payments, so we've reduced those to try and alleviate some stress there about how much money we're having to fork out every month. We've changed our health insurance. We've downgraded that to try and save some money. I've changed away from Microsoft, which was costing us $120 a year, to have access to OneDrive and all the Microsoft apps, Office apps, and I've moved us to Google. You don't get as much space, but then it didn't need that much space, and the apps are free. So I've really started thinking with downshifting about how I can downshift our technology, and I'm going to make some more videos with a lot more detail about this in the upcoming months. It's really made me think about not only what technology we have and what we need and don't need as far as hardware goes, but also about what services we do and don't need, as I just mentioned with Microsoft. It's also making me look very hard at how we use it at home. So obviously these things use a lot of power. So another thing I'm looking at that I'm going to do a video about soon is reducing our power consumption. By turning things off at night. As you can see, I've started doing a lot of things and trying a lot of things. And I'm trying to not just limit those things to things I do at home, but also at work as well. I'm trying to work out with my boss and my company at the moment to allow me to work from home, cut down on my commuting, and therefore, once again, my impact on not only our our bank balance, but the impact we're having on the environment. So there you go, that's a bit of a brief rundown on how, my downshifting story so far, how we're going about it, and what sort of things we're doing. There's going to be more to come on this. This is something I'm really getting into and really enjoying doing. And I guess one of the key takeaways from all this downshifting and these videos I'm doing is that downshifting is kind of like an ecosystem within itself. It's saving money, it's sharing experiences with family, it's saving time, it's commuting less, it's changing how you live, how you work, to consume less energy, to consume less resources, to spend less money. It all interweaves together to create downshifting. So there you go. That's my story so far for downshifting. There's going to be more to come. I'm going to keep doing some videos about this as the months go by, and I'll do more and learn more about it. But that's it for this video. So if you want to hear more and you want to maybe share your experiences, leave a comment below. If you want to catch up for the next video, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you back here again soon. Until then, have a good day and go live a little.